Hello and welcome to Kane's Picks. This is a channel where we review bourbons. I've been doing this for over 27 years. I've been in the industry doing barrel picks whenever, and we got to meet some interesting people along the way and had a very good time. Today we're going to be reviewing O.H. Ingram. The owner is Hank Ingram. He's actually a buddy of mine. He's a good old West Kentucky guy from out here in Paducah, Kentucky. Decided he watched Jeffersons put their whiskey on a boat and floated around the world for a change and said, well, we're from Kentucky and we can do this better. We're going to take one of my grandpa's barges, which is from O.H. Ingram, the Ingram Barge Company, which is one of the largest barge companies in the United States. And old grandpa said, well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. I'm going to let you have one of the barges. You can just turn it into a rickhouse. So they've made one of the world's first floating rickhouses. It sits anchored up out here in Columbus, Kentucky, just out there in the Mississippi River, which is a really neat little place. We've been out to visit it a couple different times. Matter of fact, we were one of the first people to ever get on the barge and do a barrel pick out there with them guys. We're actually on our third barrel pick with them this time. Really neat little place. They make great whiskeys. If you ever get a chance to try the O.H. Ingram whiskey, I do recommend it. The barrel picks might be a little harder to find, but they do make a really nice Blue Label bourbon, a good rye, and then they have their new Uncharted, which is their all-day, everyday whiskey for just, everyday sipper to enjoy. Today we've got the barrel pick that we did from them. This is a 129 proof bourbon. It comes around the barge. You'll notice it has this really nice dark mahogany color. It gets a little bit of a darker color because by sitting on the barges are pretty neat because, like I said, when it sits on the water, it sways and sways and rocks. With every time a barge rolls by it on the Mississippi River, it goes up and down with the water itself. Another cool fact about the barge is that bottom barrel is about 3 feet underwater and that top barrel is about 18 inches of plastic from being in the sunlight. Makes a very unique environment. Makes it where the barrels on the bottom has a very much cooler temperature than the top barrel, which is extremely more warm. So you can find little sweet spots in the little spot there. Like I said, this time our bourbon we have is 129 proof. Really nice, big and rich. Anytime you get a whiskey that's this big, you're not really going to be able to taste much on the first sip. I always say that first sip is just getting your palate acclimated to drinking bourbon. So what you want to do is you want to get you a little bit in your glass. Kind of get you a nice little whiff of it first because you can taste as much with your nose as you do with your tongue. So when you take that nice big smell, you get a little bit of the charcoal in the nose, you get a little bit of vanilla in the nose. Definitely some caramel in there too. It's really nice. You get a little bit of the alcohol being 129 proof, but what you'll notice, what's amazing with this one, even at such a high proof, the alcohol does not overwhelm you. You're not just being overwhelmed with alcohol vapors and burning your nose. Now you gotta take a little taste, and most people would expect this to burn all the way down and all the way through, but it's actually really pleasant. It does have a little bit of spice in your tongue, but you do get more sweetness and stuff there. It gives you the nice warm fuzz in your chest, but it's bourbon, it's supposed to. It doesn't burn your cheeks, it doesn't burn the roof of your mouth. The cool thing about this one is the second drink is where you'll get most of the flavor. So after you've taken that first sip and your tongue is actually acclimated to drinking bourbon, or whiskey in general, oh yeah, that's when you get way more of the sweetness comes to. The alcohol is toned down a little bit. And I shouldn't say it actually is toned down, but you're actually more acclimated to the whiskey now. Now, when I pick these things out, I know that most of the time, I'm not going to sit there and drink it at home at 129 proof. Most people are not going to sit there and try to drink these things at full proof. So I like to see what they do taste like a full proof, because there are guys out there that like them like that. But me, myself, I will proof them down, and I will level them down as I go, because you're only as good as your last drink. From the beginning drink to the last drink, the first drink's good, that's awesome, that's good. But after you've been sitting there, you've had water and you've let it relax, mellow, been talking to your buddies, had a cigar, you want to make sure that last drink is every bit as good as that first drink that you had. So I always like to put a little water in them, and I do that anyway. And as you notice, I didn't add but a cap full of water to that, so I'm not trying to drown my whiskey, but a little water just kind of helps take off the alcohol edge, makes it a little softer, a little bit more palatable. Automatically softens up the nose. You can already tell immediately that the nose is softer, creamier, richer. More baking spices come out immediately. The alcohol dies off, and then now you get all these really nice spices coming to baking powders. Oh yeah, soft, lots more toffee this time, along with the caramels and some vanillas. The oak is definitely present. You get this really nice charcoaly finish to it. These are soft, these are rich. I highly recommend the Ingram whiskeys if you ever get a chance to try them. Like I said, unlike the Jeffersons where they just put theirs on there for 1 year, these guys spend their entire life on the boat. Whether it's 5, 6, 7 years old, from day one, this whiskey has set its entire life on that boat. So it's had 5 years of rocking and rolling with the waves and everything else goes up and down that river and up and downs of the Mississippi and how it rises and flows. So definitely recommend it. It is a very good pour.